kind of the next level of the ghost is the zombie. So we've all seen the zombie movies.
Undead.
No doubt.
The undead that wants to eat your brains and make you stupid. So in life, the zombie...
It's a fast zombies too, and ain't those
Great
slow,
way to
stupid
put it.
ones. They're fast.
So with those are the people, the occasions, the circumstances where even though you know better, you choose otherwise because the zombie ate your brains and made you stupid. Welcome to the Lionz Den, episode 27. Again, my name's Eddy. We have a special guest star today. If you want to introduce yourself, Danny.
My name is Danny.
And this is Alex.
So we've been having some scheduling stuff with Daryl and Brad and want to get out some good content. So Danny's come up in a couple of the different podcasts, so I thought it'd be great to kind of sit in. So in the spirit of Halloween, which unfortunately you're going to hear this about a week late, today's podcast is going to be, are you creating your own haunted house in your own life? So, you know, tomorrow's Halloween, all the boogeyman's come out and the Jasons and the Freddys and all that fun stuff. It's just kind of a conversation of looking at what are we creating in our own lives? You know, what kind of monsters are creeping around underneath our beds? So with that, what we'll start with is kind of the beginning, which is just your everyday ghost. So ghosts are just kind of there to scare the shit out of you. Can't really do anything to you, but kind of could veer you off your path. And so for me, I look at ghosts, something that happened in your past or something that you know, somebody you know that happened in their past that is kind of keeping them off track. And that can manifest in a bunch of different ways. Past relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, relationships with parents, friends, work. Basically something or somewhere down the road scared the shit out of them and kind of created this undead that just won't go away. And so every time they try to move forward, that ghost is kind of popping up in their life. You know, I see that with a lot of people, with a lot of things. I mean, we're all kind of guilty of it. You know, I know with me, with my dad, there's stuff there. Past relationships, friends, people you trusted, screw you over, kind of go into the next thing, and there's that little ghost. You kind of feel comfortable, and just like in the movies, the ghost pops up, and you're like, I don't know if I should trust this person, because the last time I didn't turn out too well. So I don't know, for you, Alex, you've ever had some experiences like that?
Yeah, and I mean, I think it goes even further than that outside of, like, I don't think people realize it can be more than just a person, right? It could be experiences, it could be how you were brought up, how to handle situations, and as you kind of develop and go through growth, you kind of have those ghosts, whether it be a person or a situation that you were in that kind of brings that trauma back, and it's usually what kind of ties you to some sort of social disconnect, so like, especially for me, so things that I've had through my past that I've experienced and I haven't been able to, like, work through and properly experience. When I go through it again later in life, obviously I haven't learned anything, but it comes back kind of worse because you're dragging somebody else through it now. So you're either dragging somebody else through it, whether that be a friend, a wife, a husband, a mother, a father, and whatever the experience may be, because those people are the people that care about you. So when you start going down that road, you go through an emotional kind of turmoil, and everybody else around you does. So for me, it's always something I keep into check, because when you talk about the positive things that kind of shape you and who you are today, it's kind of like when we talk about the middle, you leave out the negative stuff, whether it's stuff that you've worked through already, you haven't worked through, or you are working through. You know, those are the things that have shaped you and are why you are who you are, you know.
Right.
If it's something you haven't worked through, it's something that you're still kind of developing through, if that makes sense.
Definitely. I know last week when we were going to have this, Danny actually had a circumstance where two ghosts popped up on him. none of which were his, but kind of had to deal with the aftermath of it. I was witness to one of them, but I don't even have to get any kind of details with it. But, what's kind of been your experience with that?
So, I mean, there's definitely things that I've done more so said in my life that I don't want to say have ruined my life, but they definitely pop up. Mm-hmm. So, but in experiences like this, it's not just your personal experiences, it's also other people's experiences that you have to deal with, whether you like it or not.
Right.
And I feel like not everything is positive, but everything that is positive has a negative, in the sense of whether it's a huge negative or just a small negative, but nonetheless, it's there. And it just puts you in a state of mind of, do I really have to trust this person and to deal with whatever they have going on that they don't show up front? Right. And it comes up, a year and a half, 2 years down the road. Sure. So, I mean, my experience with that was I was just in I want to say, wrong place at the wrong time. Definitely. For the most recent experience.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely the case. Some past ghosts there. You kind of walked in seemingly wearing the mask of the ghost and kind of caught the fury of it. And I think that happens to all of us. I mean, we're always, any type of relationship with anybody, friendship, relationship, marriage, I mean, whatever it may be, you're always going to deal with that on some level. I mean, it's a whole point in us talking about it because they're ghosts. So that shit don't go away until you put it to rest. And kind of to Danny's point, just like the great slasher movies. So actually, Halloween was on upstairs, and Jamie Lee Curtis, I don't know if it was her boyfriend now, it seemed like it, but there was like some kids in the house. So everybody in the house is getting screwed up because of her badass brother.
The newest one.
This was H2O. So this was like one of the older ones. Okay.
I can't speak on this.
Yeah, so to your point, he's terrified of
I don't do scary movies.
That's
not my thing. So, I do Hubie Halloween. That's about as scary as I get.
So
it's an Adam Sandler movie.
To his point, to Danny's point, is you're right. I mean, when you don't resolve it, whoever's close to you inevitably has to deal with it too. Yeah, and whatever comes with that, whatever scare factor comes with that, which could be jarring for people, scary for some people, could make people not want to get close to you because they know you have those ghosts and they kind of pop up invariably at different times, so, for people that I talk to, and we talk about this topic a lot privately, ghosts are there for, a lot of people. And it's just those things in your past that you just haven't put to rest. You just haven't put the RIP tombstone over it and just kind of hovering over the grave, just waiting to pop out on you. Mm-hmm. Kind of the next level of the ghost is the zombie. So we've all seen the zombie movies.
Undead.
No doubt.
The undead that wants to eat your brains and make you stupid. So in life, the zombie...
It's a fast zombies too, and those slow, stupid ones. Fast.
So with those are the people, the occasions, the circumstances where even though you know better, you choose otherwise because the zombie ate your brains and made you stupid. So like a racism would be a perfect example of that,
right?
And all of our collective experiences, and I'm talking every human being in the world, you've met that person that's kind of counter to what you thought. So, this black guy was really nice. He's different. He's not like the others, or white
racist,
people, or Mexican, or whatever the case may be. All different races. It's just the zombie ate your brain and made you stupid. So when you meet that next person, you forget that, oh, shit, I already met somebody like that, and they were incredible. And it kind of goes the same thing with the ghost thing. You meet a significant other, and you trust them, and you feel like you could trust them. You're not getting any of those signs, but zombie ate your brain and made you stupid, so you're freaking out, and there's really nothing to freak out about.
Right.
I don't know what zombies you've had in your life, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the king of repeat until learn a lesson. And that's because it's a zombie thing. But it's also because if you look at me as a human being, recently somebody that's probably in the last couple of years that's like, we got to get this figured out right now, whatever it may be. I mean, you've seen that firsthand from the word go till the end, and I'm still not great at it. I like to let things happen and then happen again and then eventually fix it. And I think that's why I have so many of those situations. There's so many different things in my life that I've had. I would say probably one that's not super deep, that's very common, is I've gotten very good at like stuff with a temper. So, and when I'm talking about a temper, I'm talking about I'm like that person, just leave me the hell alone, right? You poke, I'm probably going to say something, and it's going to be very crystal clear, like, hey, not in the mood. And I'm not talking always physical. It could be an argument, could be physical, whatever the case may be. I'm very good at keeping myself away from those situations. But that zombie comes back because it's like if you roll up behind me, you get within like an inch of my bumper, throw a middle finger out the window, start calling me names, I'm going to try to pull you over in the intersection.
No, that doesn't ever happen with
all
you.
the time.
Yeah.
And I know it's wrong. I know I shouldn't do it. I have a 2-year-old. I talked to my mom right after I talked to you after the recent one. My mom said the same thing you said, and then, you've got a kid. I'm like, no, I know. Mom, I'm going to be all right. She's like, no, you don't understand. If you get locked up, you're not going to be all right. Your kid's going to be at home. And that's extreme, right? But for me, that's...
Actually, it's not really.
Well,
they could really quickly get there.
Yeah, probably.
Very possible.
Yeah, very probable. But that's a serious zombie for me. I mean, for me, it's for whatever reason, and the root of it, whether it makes it right or not, for me is I know this person, whether it's an argument, physical, whatever the case may be, something that brings that inner demon out, that temper that I have, that doesn't come out often, but when it does, it comes out in full vengeance. It's usually because I'm in a situation with somebody where there's so much ignorance there because it's my way or the highway, or so singular thinking. So I'm supposed to conform. I'm supposed to get out of your way because you're having a bad day. And then it's like I try to make a notion of just brush it off, get in my own world, and then you just keep poking. I'm like, this person's never going to stop until somebody shows them you can't do this to people. Because you're going to meet somebody someday that's going to show you can't do this to people. But I'm not that guy anymore. I'm 30 years old. I got a daughter. I've got a mortgage. I've got a wife. I've got a house. And for me, I don't know why I can't stop doing it. Like you said, it's a zombie moment.
It's a zombie. Your brain makes you
somebody
stupid.
pulls up behind me. I would love to be that cool dude that just like turns around, looks at him, smiles, and laughs it off, and just keeps minding my own business. I'm that guy that looks like an idiot with my head out the window screaming at you. I can't stop it. And then afterwards, I'm always like, man, I should have handled it this way.
Right.
Can't. Zombie ate my brain. I can't do it, man.
Do you have any zombie moments, Danny?
My biggest probably zombie a zombie moment would be, or is, I should say, experience, as far as in people tell me not to do things because they've experienced it and they didn't like it or it didn't go well for them.
Yeah.
And I just turn the other cheek and just do it anyway. I feel like if you're going to do something, you have to learn for yourself.
And I agree.
Not just because there's multiple times where my brother's been telling me not to do certain things because he did them in his past, and
Sure.
whether it's financially or whatever the case is, and it didn't work out for him, and I just ignore him and just do it anyway. And then another one is, like Alex was saying, there's people that do the poking. I was the person that did the poking. No, there's been somebody to show me not to do it.
Right.
You're a pretty big dude.
Aside from, that helps.
Yeah, it does help.
Aside from the conversation we were having earlier with my most recent experience with the ghost, but
Yeah.
there's never really been anybody to tell me not to poke fun. But that's just who I am.
Right.
So when I know there's a limit, I know when to stop it. There's a cap, a ceiling, and all that. I get it. But that might be my biggest, the zombie ate my brain scenario.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, in that particular situation, handled extremely well. Like I said, with all this stuff, the ghosts, the zombies, it's one of those things better, yet you still do it because it's that ghost is there.
Mm-hmm.
Again, for me, it's experience.
Right.
I have to go through it to know what it's like.
And I think that's the case, for a lot of people. The big thing, I think, with experience is you always want to kind of take in consideration what you can gain from it and what you can lose from it.
For sure.
So I'm not jumping out of an airplane because the gain from it is, I'm sure, super crazy, awesome experience. The drawback on it is I could die. So it's just not worth it for me.
And Daryl's been pushing the idea of going skydiving recently.
So
Daryl, if you're here in person, I would tell you no.
yeah,
I told him no in person. All
All
right.
right, cool. It's Daryl and Bill jumping out of a
So
plane.
you have the ghost, then you have zombie. So the next phase of the slasher flick is the Freddy Kruegers, the Jasons,
It's a big jump. Just straight axe murdering.
Chucky, any of them little shits that just never go away. So those are all, and Alex won't be able to chime in because he doesn't watch them, but those are the ones you're watching. I was just watching it, and I'm like, just run. Just go away. Like, you know that he's in this city. He comes around about every Halloween time. Go to Colorado. It's beautiful.
No, go to Alaska. I bet you that dude can't swim.
Go to
Yeah, no one's
Alaska.
gonna let him on a boat.
Just get the hell out. And they always come back.
Yeah.
Like, they never just go away. They always come back. They always raise back from the dead and come back. So those monsters in our haunted house tour are the ones that I say get away from, just run away from, in correlation to our lives. Those are the people that we meet that are toxic, they ain't good for us. Every time that they come into our life, it's never positive. That could be even a job. That could be a certain ideology we may have, certain belief you may carry, and every time you go through with it, it just never, ever turns out well. I know guys that tried Life of Crime and just got busted constantly, and you're just like, it's not for you, dude. Like, you're just not good at this. Those are the Freddy Kruegers and Jasons. Like, it never turns out well anytime that this comes into your life.
Right.
And, the resolution there is to just run, just like in the movies, run. What are you doing? And to your point, too, with the zombie, it's the same type of thing.
Yeah.
Like when you're watching it, they're always kind of running to them. Run away from them. They want to eat your brains. They're going to make you stupid. Get away from it.
Right.
And in a life circumstance, that's simply just being able to address and acknowledge the fact that every time this person comes into my life, it never ends up well. So why do I continue to allow that to happen? And it's funny, like, again, when we watch the movie, we're like, just go. What the hell are you doing? Yet, in our own lives, we don't do it. We do the exact same shit. We run right to it. A lot of times you'll see that in toxic relationships. And that could be boyfriend, girlfriend. That could be a friend that you've been boys with your whole life,
right.
Just never got their shit together. And every time you're with them, something shitty happens, but you stick with them because, hey, that's my boy. I've known him since I was a kid. And it just never ends up well.
Right.
I see that a lot with people. I don't know what your experiences are with that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the biggest thing I see with that is a toxic relationship. And I mean toxic, not like an argument relationship, like, whatever toxic may look like, physical abuse, verbal abuse, drugs, alcohol, and friendships. Not even necessarily if it's a friendship that is somebody's so messed up and somebody's kind of on the right path. You could just be a friendship that's going down two different paths. And that's something that you don't necessarily have to run from, I suppose, but depending on what that looks like, maybe you definitely do kind of have to cut ties. I'd say that's probably where it hits the biggest home for me, would be I've had close relationships around me that were pretty toxic, that were close enough to affect me, if that makes sense. Not anything I've been directly in, but close enough to where it's definitely affected my life.
Yeah, you're getting a blowback.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also had friendships that, you kind of hang out with that person your entire life or for a long period of time, and you have to kind of start cutting ties. And it's usually kind of a silent killer with this one, to kind of stick with the Halloween theme, because it's something that you're kind of blind to, whether you're purposely turning a blind eye or you're doing it not knowing it, because in that relationship, it's something that you're used to. If it's a long-term friend, that's that consistency that, well, it's still Eddy. And I'm not saying that that's that relationship. I'm saying, if it's us, I've known Eddy for how long? So it's Eddy. He's going through some stuff. It's Eddy. I'm here.
Definitely.
how long does that go until it becomes a situation of, is that 10 years past now where you've allowed that to affect your life, 5 years, 6 years, however long it's been.
Right.
And that's what I mean on a silent killer, because, we've talked about it in previous episodes, that negativity kind of dials in who you are at that time in your life. So if you're hanging out with a bunch of negativity, that's what you're going to be putting out. So I think that's been a bigger struggle for me, has been knowing when it's time to separate from that, because when's enough's enough. We've talked about it before, when is enough help, enough if it's a friendship, enough effort, enough, whatever the case may be. When does it become enough? I mean, that's a tough line to figure out.
No, and I think all of us, Danny included, I haven't known Danny as long as everybody, but definitely seems very loyal, ride or die type of friend.
Yeah.
I think when you're loyal,
yeah,
and especially depending on the background that you come from, that loyalty really draws you in, even when it's not healthy for you, or it's just a toxic situation for you.
That's fair.
And that could be with a girl, damn well I should get the hell out. That could be the guy, damn well I should get the hell out, or the buddy that just always is bringing you into some shit. It's the one that always wants to fall down drunk, the one that wants to do drugs, you don't want to do it anymore, the one that wants to go to the club and you're over it. All those type of things. Those are the Jasons in your life and the Freddy Kruegers that they don't go away, and you seemingly are welcoming them in by being there or walking towards them instead of just getting out.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've had those circumstances with you, Danny.
So, yeah, like Alex said, the two major ones definitely are relationships and friendships.
Yeah.
Now, most recently, I have learned to walk away from relationships and friendships, just because, like Alex said, you put out what you see around you. And I definitely have a couple friends that the relationship it seems good, but when it comes down to the nitty gritty, it's not the greatest.
Yeah.
And for me personally, it's just I could deal with it for so long until it starts affecting me personally, and I've known them for a while. So. And it finally got to me not too long ago. So I just walked away.
Yeah.
And also with a relationship with me. With my ex, had a few struggles here and there. Kind of started talking again, didn't work out. And I just told myself, it's time to just
Press
find
on.
a new path.
No, definitely.
Because it's not, I won't say it's not worth it, but it's not ideal for me to put myself in that situation for, X amount of years, whether it's 5, 10, 15, 1, or months at that.
No, definitely.
But yeah, definitely friendships and relationships are the two major ones that I've seen personally.
To Danny's point, I think that's always the hardest part, is you always think it's going to be different. The next Freddy Krueger movie is actually going to die. The next one, you're actually going to get over on them, and then they just keep coming and coming and coming. And I think that's the hard part, especially when you're like any one of us, where you're very loyal, so you have there's a high value for that loyalty. You expect that to yourself, so it's hard to put out. I think the real struggle with there is just a matter of perspective, and a lot of these things, which we'll kind of get to at the end of this, but kind of how to exercise all these demons and clear out your haunted house. But especially with the Freddy Kruegers and the Jasons, the thing that always bounces in my head is Jesus to Peter, "Get behind me, devil." And that was his boy. That's the guy that he saw as being the future for carrying his word. I don't think Jesus said that out of malice. I don't think he said it out of anger. I think it was just a matter of, I'm moving forward, and either you're with me or you're not. And if you're trying to drag me down, then you're the devil for me.
Which is knowing when to walk away.
For sure. And I think that anytime that you're unhappy, doesn't make you feel good, makes you feel crappy about a situation, be it work, relationship, friendship, whatever that may be, it's time to walk away. Now, walking away doesn't mean that the door slammed. It's just, this is where I'm at. Either I'm going to lead, either you're going to catch up to me, or you're going to get caught behind me. Because I think a lot of times, especially with this group, with the Lionz Den, we're constantly putting back and kind of waiting. Come on, trying to always wait and help and try to bring the person with you.
Yep.
And, unfortunately, what I've learned in my life is you're not going to do it.
No.
You're not going to make anybody do anything that somebody doesn't want to do, because they're dealing with their own demons.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in life, there's not a hero to the movie. That's a big thing for all of us, especially in Lionz Den. All 5 of us, you always want to be that hero. You always want to be the guy to save that person, help that person, change that person. So you get really bogged down with I just need to hang in there and fight for them and show them a better way, show them they can trust me, show them they can believe in me. And, what I've learned in life is Jesus couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So we're here all these years, 2,000 years later, and we're not all following Jesus's ways. We're not all following his teachings. No. So people aren't going to do something they don't want to do. And it's super easy to get kind of trapped in that because it plays into your desire to help, plays in your desire to be the hero, plays in your desire to want to be reliable, loyal. So I agree with you. I mean, that's why we kind of went in this succession, because it's getting creepier and creepier as we go along in the haunted house. But I mean, it's a big one.
Yeah. No, I mean, I love that. I mean, I have that tattooed. I have "Get Behind Me, Satan" tattooed on my wrist, because it's something that, when I turned that corner in my life, it was something, and I'm still not great at it. It was kind of like a badge of honor for me, I mean, I don't know. We haven't really gotten into our story. I don't know if this is the one to do it, but, we had a situation between you and I where you had an opportunity to help me learn that lesson extremely, extremely well. But it's why it hit pretty home for me, because I now get to see both sides of it. So I've had somebody draw that line in the sand, being Eddy. And I had a choice to make, and I think what you were describing earlier about how it brings you down, a really good visual that popped into my head to kind of describe it for people, so you can kind of grab onto it, is imagine you're walking with somebody, you're holding hands, and that person, they fall down, and them falling down isn't being physically hurt, mentally hurt. Them falling down is down a path that you've done everything you can to bring them back off of. And for a while, if you're pretty fit, and when I say fit in this analogy, let's talk about mentally fit. If you have the mental capacity to help somebody walk through that path that they're going through, you're going to be able to pull them for a while. You're going to lose some of your speed, but you'll make forward progress for yourself while you're pulling them. But eventually you're going to fall down too.
No doubt about it. And they're going to drag you right with them. Your
progress gets slower and slower as time goes on, as you move forward, because they become heavier and heavier, and eventually their weight becomes your weight, and you can't carry yourself, let alone them. Then there's recovery that comes with that. So for me, it was such a milestone, because I've been on the other side of it. So I've been on the side where I've had that line drawn where I've been the dead weight, either get up or get out. And it's not anything that was negative. It was just, this is the direction that it's going. And then kind of starting to learn to be able to be in a mental space, to be able to be on the other side of it, where it's, hey, I'm moving forward. I want you to move forward with me, but if you can't, I understand it, but I'm moving forward in any aspect, not necessarily any specific thing, but it really hits home for me, the "Get Behind Me, Satan," because it's still stuff I battle with, and I think, at least for me, I still go from being on both sides of it with certain circumstances. It's just now I don't allow myself to become that dead weight. I won't allow myself to have somebody draw that line in the sand. When I see it going down that path, I'm getting better at being able to kind of recorrect it, if that makes sense.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think for me so Al-Anon is a group that basically meets for, mostly it's teenagers that are either dealing with alcoholism, or usually it's a parent that's an alcoholic. And tough love was something that got spoken about a lot in that. And tough love is exactly that, just understanding that you're just enabling somebody by kind of catering to, especially when there's an addiction, because there's a lot of manipulation that goes on with that, by kind of catering to that. And that's the same type of principle. I mean, I think for me at a younger age, I've been called cold, I've been called ruthless, because for me, it gets to a point where I wouldn't say it's easy for me. It's just, I know that that's what needs to be done. Kind of in the case Alex was talking about, where you get to a point with somebody that either they're going to lead with you or they're going to fall behind. And, And again, doesn't have to be any malice in that.
No.
You know, I'm still here for you, but you have to get to this point. You know, when you're there, I'm picking up the phone, I'll meet you, whatever, but I'm not going to keep going backwards until you start moving forwards. And I think the key with that is when there is re-engagement with that person, with that thing, you have to be able to talk about that.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times I'll know couples that broke up, got back together. You know, Danny was talking about that a little bit earlier. You know, a lot of times when I talk to people that go through that, and well, what'd you guys talk about? What'd you resolve from the last time? Well, you know, nothing. You know, I think they grew up a little bit. So I already know your ass is going to be broken up in another month because you didn't resolve shit. Nothing got talked about. That Freddy Krueger is just waiting to pop out.
He's just sitting behind that corner. He just moved from that one.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
You know, when
The next light.
right. When I talk to people and they're like, yeah, we discussed, these were the issues that we had, this was a misunderstanding, we reconciled that, hashed that out, I know that there's, you know, a good chance for that.
Right.
And I would say in your personal relationships, friends, girlfriends, boyfriends, that's really what you want to be looking at is, you know, have we come to an understanding of what that is, and are we able to get over it? You know, I think that's a big indicator of if there's change.
Yeah.
Because if there's no answer to that, so what's going to be different this time? Well, you know, I don't know. I miss you. You'll hear that a lot. So I've heard that a lot. Really, I really miss you, and that ain't going to change shit.
Yeah, it just starts it all over again.
It just starts it all. Here comes Freddy with the big ass, you know, claws ready to slice you up. So
Terrifying.
I think the biggest thing is carrying other people's burdens because you have your own shit to worry about.
for sure.
And then, I mean, people don't make it easy. And at a very young age, you learn what you like to do and what you don't like to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, experience plays a huge part on your day-to-day life, but I mean, the majority is just stuff that you saw as a kid. That
Definitely.
plays a huge part in who you are now and what you can do or don't want to do.
Big time.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what we were talking about with the ghost stuff. I mean, you have that stuff that's there that you learn your lessons from. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but I mean, you're 100% right.
Most
And
of the time
again,
it's bad.
maliciousness gets attached to that a lot of times. So again, it's got to be healthy. So if it's the ghost that's popping up and making you run, so let's say you have trust issues and something happens within a relationship where gets tapped in those trust issues and you run for the woods, well, that's really on you because it's your ghost that's popping up. Mm-hmm. You haven't exercised that demon yet. So that's unhealthy. When it's a matter of, you know, the signs are there and you know they're there. And a lot of with all of this is really self-evaluation, to be able to be honest with yourself, to be able to say, I mean, I have major trust issues because, like I said, alcoholics are manipulative as shit. You know, my dad would lie to me and I need money for cigarettes when he's buying a half pint, all this type of stuff. So I grew up, let alone people I hung out with and stuff I've saw throughout my life. You know, there's not many people I trust. So I lean towards that.
Right.
But I'm also able to self-evaluate and know that, hey, dude, you got some trust issues. Is this you tripping? I just had a recent scenario in my own life where kind of jumped to conclusions and all that trust stuff come out. Is this person out to get me? Are they trying to take advantage of me? And, you know, I'm to a point in my life where I could walk down and start going step by step. All right, are you overlooking this? Are you taking things the wrong way? How is it presented to you? And realize, you know, I was being ridiculous. But that's kind of how you put that Freddy Krueger to bed, is being able to self-evaluate and be honest with yourself. Am I trying to play a savior in this situation? Is my loyalty actually hurting that person? You know, it's a big thing that a lot of people don't understand is usually growth comes from being at the bottom. Mm-hmm. So you lose enough in life, let's say relationships, you know, you have a couple relationships where, man, I really messed up with Alex. That was, makes you self-evaluate. If you're constantly being catered to, and told that, you know, no, it's not, it's him, it's not me, and you're constantly trying to fool yourself, you never get to that growth level where you start evolving and being able to be honest with yourself.
Right.
And when you're catering to that by feeding it and always reappearing, you're just a body for Jason to stab in the heart.
Yep.
Or cut your head off.
Yeah, you just got to be able to take care of yourself first before you try to take care of somebody else.
No doubt about it.
100%.
Which is very hard for some people.
Definitely. The last one is vampires. So that's your Draculas. What was some of the Lost Boys? What was the Twilight? That was they were the nice ones, some of them.
Vampires and wolves.
So the vampire is they can't survive without your blood.
Yeah.
So those are the people in your life that they just can't survive without you. They find no joy, no nothing. They got to suck it all off of you. Mm-hmm. They could be energy suckers. They could be all kinds of stuff. But that's another big one, and it's kind of closely resembles the Freddy Kruegers and the Jasons, but they just draw off you because they can't sustain life without doing it. So that's that person that, and again, I'll see that in a lot of relationships, super toxic relationship, but, with this person, they're happy, and they just suck that person dry until they're not anymore. And then they kind of go to the next one. And then that next relationship is going to be the thing that changes your entire life. And then you suck that dry, and you kind of go to the next one. You'll see it in friendships, too, that vampire is somebody who's, let's say you have somebody in your life who's very unhappy. And, Danny's a great example, super upbeat guy, always positive, never really seen him be negative. That's, for vampires, that's an attraction.
I smell you from a mile away.
Because they want to live off that, and they suck it, and makes their life a little better until you're spent and you got no more blood to give. Mm-hmm. Vampires is something I see a lot. I definitely draw vampires in my life. I'll bring a lot of people in that, try to suck my energy, try to suck my faith, whatever it may be, kind of live off that. The key with that is it's got to be reciprocal. So, you got to be giving and taking. It's just that person that takes, and takes, right. And it just never stops until there's nothing of you left. Mm-hmm. I don't know what experiences you've had with that.
With vampires?
Yeah.
I've had so many experiences with vampires, I should walk around with garlic in my fucking pockets. Silver bullets loaded in a gun. But it's my own fault, too.
Yeah, I would say you and Brad are definitely the most susceptible to vampires.
Yeah, I must have some
because you're very people pleaser,
sweet ass blood. But like you said, it's because I'm a people pleaser. I want to help. I'm the yes guy. You need somebody to come over. I slept for 2 hours and help you move. All right, I'm coming over.
Definitely.
Now I know.
Over. I don't have a truck anymore. It's not running. I do have a truck. It's not running. It's just sitting in the driveway. Yeah, vampires I have a lot of experience with. Unfortunately, though, I'm just recently at a point, and not even all the way there, and I say unfortunately because it would have been nice to be there before, where I can recognize that and I can kind of, stick with the theme, be able to pull that silver bullet out. Let's go with garlic. Pull the garlic out and keep them away. It's less violent. Before I couldn't, and I almost welcomed it because it was like a feeling of you needed to feel welcome.
For sure.
It was like, well, there's a thirsty ass vampire over there. I got some pretty good blood. Hey, bro, come on. You're gonna have some.
Definitely.
And you do that to yourself enough, and it almost becomes something that you look forward to because it's like you think you're helping, you get a high off of it, and then it just drains you and sucks you completely dry. And it's very rare you find that person that you can allow them to do that and they reciprocate it right back.
Definitely not.
Very rare to find it. Honestly, I think, Danny, when you came into the group, I think that's one of the things that probably made it such a hitch, for all of us. We all liked you right off the rip just because you are that type of person that you reciprocate. You need something. You're always like, I joke with you now as I get to know you that you're the real life caretaker. Like, hey, I can't find this limited edition 1 of 2 made in the whole world shoe. Don't worry, bro. I got a guy. Hey, Danny, I'm looking for this. Well, are you ready for it? Because I'm about to have it in like an hour. So you better have the money ready. You're just an all-around good dude, which is super rare to find. And I think our group is full of people that are, very willing to reciprocate. But
definitely,
most people aren't. And Advice on how to stay away from it. I don't know if I'm at a point where I can give it.
Fair enough. I mean,
because I don't know if I can help you stay away from it. I mean, maybe help you get away from it, but I think, the earlier you do it, the better. The earlier you start to realize that this is a one-way relationship,
right.
The earlier definitely the better, because it doesn't get easier. You start to build those connections, and then there starts to be, like we were talking about earlier with that long lost friend, it starts to the cycle all over again.
No, definitely.
So yeah, zombies I definitely have a good experience with, struggle with to this day, so.
I can't say that I've had many experiences with vampires. I think I'm pretty good at choosing.
You definitely are.
Who I talk to and who I don't.
Yeah.
It's a gift.
And then I know when to stop if it does become an issue.
No, you're definitely, in the time I've known you, you're definitely a people pleaser in the sense you're a guy that you want to be liked, but I think you're pretty quick to acknowledge if somebody's trying to take advantage of it.
Yeah, it's not like I don't need to be liked.
Yep.
I just have a likable personality, I guess.
Yep.
But yeah, it's not like something I crave. Like, I need this person to like me. I can't sleep with that if he doesn't like me.
Right.
Like, it doesn't bother me. But there's not many experiences with vampires. And like we said earlier, you get what you give out. So if you want to meet the right type of people, you try to find the right type of people.
No doubt.
And I think the best friendships are the ones that you don't look for, the ones that just pop up.
Right.
And that's personal for me because people I went to high school with that I try to be friends with, I talk to like 2 of them now. I've made more friends at work than I ever did when I was in school trying to make friends.
Yeah.
So that's me personally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like I said, for me, just like in the movies with the Draculas, like you were kind of saying, there's an enchantment to it. There's an allure to it. So I can definitely fall for it here and there, and usually when I do, it's pretty bad. But I'm also real quick to put a stake in the heart once I figure it out.
Yeah.
So it's one of those, I'll fall for it for a good while, and it'll turn real quick, real bad.
Bye, Felicia.
For sure.
For me, that good while is like a week.
Yeah. It's, anytime you want to help people, you want to be a leader, you want to kind of be at the forefront of things, you're going to get that draw because it brings people in. Like for Danny, when you're a happy, positive, upbeat person, that's going to draw people in. Who doesn't want that in their lives?
Right.
It just really comes down to, is whoever you're letting into your world, are they, reciprocating that?
Right.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be reciprocated. There's people that I have in my life that could never do for me. They're just not capable of doing the things that I do for them. I don't expect them to.
Right.
A vampire they're taking it from you.
Right.
They're sticking their teeth in you and taking it from you. You're not willingly, doing it.
Yeah.
And those are the ones you have to be really careful of.
Yeah, I think we're all probably very similar, especially at the table, that we're all very similar in the sense that me giving you something, knowledge, wisdom, shoulder to cry on, whatever that may be, I don't expect necessarily the same thing in return or something to equal, or like, we're not bartering. I'm not trading my truck for your truck. It's
right.
If you show any inkling of an effort, and especially for me, like the biggest thing for me is not even necessarily the effort. If you aren't even capable of making the effort, if I see you step outside your comfort zone in an effort to make an effort, that's good enough for me.
That's world changing.
Right?
Yeah,
good enough for me.
Sure.
Because the next time, if you go from making an effort to attempt an effort to, well, maybe now you actually you're not just stepping out of your comfort zone. Now there's maybe an effort. I'm good with that. That excites me.
Sure.
Because I see you trying a little bit more. I could work with that. That's a friend I could be cool with. That's a relationship I can be in, because that's fixable. We can get to this place at the same time.
Definitely.
It's like you said, a vampire. The difference is, hey, no, I got you. I'll definitely be there for you. Oh, sorry, man, I can't come over to help you move.
Right.
This person's in town. They just take.
Yep.
Take.
What makes it easier for me is back when I was younger, my dad told me one thing, and I'll never forget. He said, "Not everybody's your friend," and that plays a true role to right now.
No, for sure.
Like, I mean, you can't get along with everybody,
No.
and it's not good if you do.
And I think that's why you're healthier with it. You
For
know,
sure,
like I
it
said,
makes it easier.
You're definitely very well grounded with, like I said, you know when somebody's taking advantage of it and when you're not, which is good. I mean, with all the things we're talking about, I mean, we all create our own haunted houses. We all have some variants of these scary things in our lives.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a matter of exercising as many of them as you can where it's not, you don't have a haunted house.
Yeah.
You know, you have one ghost in the backyard that, as long as it stays there, is okay.
It just plays by itself.
Right. It's not every corner you walk around, you got, somebody jumping in your face. And I think a lot of people have created that in their own lives where it's just, what's the one out here, Statesville?
Yes, Statesville Haunted.
Statesville Haunted House, where every step you take, you're just terrified of
We're
somebody
taking that
scaring the
exception.
shit out of you.
Bro, I worked at a haunted house. They had to put me in a room that had a door that went directly in and out of it, like a fire escape. Because otherwise, like, I'm not walking into that room. They put me into a room in the middle of the house.
Well, they made an effort to make your job easier.
and that's why I stayed and worked for them for like 4 years.
Well, thank you, everybody. Hopefully, you guys had a great Halloween. Again, it's just meant to be introspective, kind of look, analyze your life, see what you have going on, what kind of boogeymans you got going. And, hopefully some of this stuff helped you with any advice.
Yeah.
But thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Yep. Thank you.